Fox News has this commentator, analyst, I guess they would call him, named Brit Hume. Brit Hume gave Republicans a brutal reality check yesterday or the day before, where he said Trump is going to lose. Now, in this commentary, Brit Hume says a whole bunch of stuff that's very untrue. He says Trump's not really a threat to democracy. He says all sorts of things that aren't true. But where Brit Hume lands is that the real wake-up call for Republicans should be that Biden is going to beat Donald Trump. Let's take a listen to what Brit Hume had to say. And remember, he's going to say a bunch of things here that are just flatly untrue, and we'll discuss that.
Hampshire individually, and yet this flurry of articles, and it's really across the board, has been persistent about what a second Trump administration would look like. Your thoughts?
Well, they're predicting that he would try to drive the country toward dictatorship, that he would use his second term to seek revenge on everybody who'd resisted and opposed him over the term of his presidency and beyond. But I gotta say, it seems to me it's all a little overwrought. I mean,
now listen, it's not they are saying. Trump is saying, and he said it again last night during a completely cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs town hall with Fox News propagandist Sean Hannity that we'll look at a little bit later. It's not they are saying. Trump is saying that he will do those things. But okay, so this part I completely disagree with, but then we get to Brit Hume's reality check warning for Republicans.
He had 4 years with Donald Trump, and he blustered and bragged and threatened and so forth, and yet he didn't bring us to the brink of dictatorship. And for all the excitement that was created by his activities after the election, which he tried everything he could to try to remain in power, in the end it failed.
This is it wasn't that bad because Trump failed to steal the election. Again, an argument I completely disagree with, but stick with it. Brit is getting to the part of the analysis that does make sense.
What was labeled an insurrection lasted about 3 or 4 hours, and it was no match for the constitutional restraints which exist and would exist in a Trump second term. So, to me, this is more of the same stuff. You remember we heard before the January 6th began its utterly one-sided inquiry into what the January 6th committee began its utterly one-sided inquiry into what happened that day. The vice chairman of the committee said that we had come critically close to losing our democracy that day. Well, we didn't. And I don't think in a second term Trump would have much luck, even if he tried to drive the country toward dictatorship. He's more likely to drive the Republican Party to a defeat at the hands of Joe Biden than he is to drive the country toward dictatorship.
There it is. He is more likely to drive the country towards a defeat by Joe Biden. A lot of Republicans don't want to hear this. Now, it is by no means a foregone conclusion that Biden beats Trump at all. We look at the polling. We all see the polling. But there is some systemic 30,000-foot view here about if the economy remains roughly the way it is right now, and Trump keeps running on the same failed promises from 2016, and he's going from criminal trial to criminal trial to criminal trial, that he's simply going to lose in the sense that if you start with the map from 2020 of the states that each candidate won, and you ask yourself, which states did Trump lose last time that he is now likely to win? You don't really come up with much. So I don't know that Republicans want to hear this. I don't know that they necessarily care. Brit Hume, every one of Brit Hume's commentaries reeks with arrogance and condescension and superiority, and maybe Republicans don't want to hear it. But a Trump loss is the absolute best case scenario. And in that sense, I hope Brit Hume is correct, because he is completely off and wrong when he says Trump won't try to install himself as a dictator. Trump is telling us what he's going to do. He was given, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but last night he was given multiple opportunities by Sean Hannity to say, of course I'm not going to do that. And both times he said, I actually am going to do that. So Brit Hume, with a reality check for Republicans, thinking that Trump will beat Biden, I don't think it's the most likely outcome. I think it's a possible outcome. I think we have to guard against it and make sure we're registered and that we vote. But it does not seem to me like the obvious outcome of the forthcoming election. If you're someone who ever suffers from nausea, I know a number of people who do. check out our sponsor, Relief Band. This is the #1 anti-nausea wristband that can quickly relieve and effectively prevent nausea. Many people use Relief Band for nausea from anxiety or from migraines, car sickness, planes, boats. Former producer Lewis can tell you a little bit about car and planes. Relief Band is super simple, fast acting. It'll last as long as you need it to last. It's 100% drug-free, no side effects. And this was originally developed to be used in hospitals. Relief Band's patented technology can turn off the feeling of nausea. It's a type of therapy called transdermal neuromodulation accustimulation. In simple terms, it's just a small band you wear on your wrist, sends a gentle pulse to the part of your nervous system that regulates nausea. There's good research showing Relief Band can help with nausea from motion sickness, pregnancy, from certain medications, and a bunch of studies suggest that Relief Band can help with nausea after surgery in combination with medication. Relief Band has an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, over 100,000 satisfied customers online. See if Relief Band can help you kick nausea. Go to reliefband.com, use the code PACMAN at checkout for 20% off plus free shipping. The link is down below.